Nearly every single project that Sweet Baby Ink touches turns to trash. Even the most successful ones like God of War Ragnarok face major controversy because they're changing around character backstory or they're race swapping certain characters. You either have developers coming out making controversial statements or them silencing people on official forums. And that's exactly what's happening right now with Compulsion Games because they are not able to take criticism. They are blocking people over on X. They're locking down threads on their official Steam forums. And well, their early access numbers are not looking super positive so far. But before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, this is a game I actually had a little bit of hype for because it's not like they're taking established characters and an established franchise and pushing a new modern message into it. I thought the stop motion actually looked relatively interesting, and I thought to myself, maybe this will be a pretty decent game. Yeah, I kind of expect it to be a little bit heavy-handed on a narrative, but if the gameplay could make up for that, if it's fun, if it's gorgeous, it plays well, maybe I could give it a little bit of credit, right? I like when developers create things that are new and unique, even if I'm not 100% behind it, but it is a Sweet Baby Ink game, and I think we needed to definitely take everything surrounding this game with a hefty grain of salt and not just instantly give them credit. And Compulsion Games hasn't really responded in the best way possible because they have received some backlash, they're silencing people, and it just looks like they're taking everything personally, and that's such a big problem nowadays. If you are creating a product, you need to not silence your customers, but you also need to not take everything so personally. Imagine if I got offended every time someone on X told me I was ugly or I was stupid, or maybe I just got popular because of my hair and my face and my gender. I would be throwing a hissy fit every single day. That would be ridiculous. But Compulsion Games cannot take criticism because they, as you can see in the screenshot, had blocked me. I don't know exactly when this happened. It must have been like a week or two ago, but I've only put up 2 videos on this game. One of them was just talking about how they were silencing people's criticism on the Steam forums, which, again, I don't think that that is block worthy. And then the other one was the first time we found out that Sweet Baby Ink was affiliated with this game. So in no way, shape, or form did I harass developers. Did I send hatred their way? Did I, say boycott this game? I never did any of that. Nothing that is block worthy, but they blocked me nonetheless. And well, I'm still going to call them out for what I see as total, complete, and utter BS. And so far, things are not going so well for them. So let's take a look over on their Steam forums because release is technically here. It is in early access until the 8th, and I will be streaming it. It's going up on Game Pass, and I do try to stream most of the games that I talk about on this channel. I'm not monetarily supporting them, though it would be interesting one of these times for one of these developers to send out codes to individuals they deem controversial because it is still technically free press, though it doesn't bother me because if I have 100 people watching and 99 of you decide to not buy the game and just watch my live stream, that's 99 copies that are potentially not sold. Or if a game ends up being really good, then it's 99 copies sold. I mean, sometimes it does work that way, but I don't think it's fair that I talk about a game then not try it because I can be wrong. I'm a human. And this I had, again, like a tiny bit of hype for because I thought it seemed like a unique concept, though as time goes on and we're getting closer to release, any hype I really am having and dying. But you can see they are actively moderating the threads. I mean, 1 hour ago and it's already locked. This game took me 8 hours to finish and it's $40. No replayability either. Why are they silencing people who are just bringing up the fact that it was a $40 experience they've already finished? You would think that that would be an okay conversation to people have. There was no hatred being levied towards the developers. They weren't saying to boycott the game. They were just saying, yeah, it's really short for the price. Who is this targeted base game for? I'm not complaining about having a target base. Everything does, and of course, getting everyone buying a product is always best for whoever created it because it's more sales, but the trailer and some videos I have seen recently on this game have me confused. I like the stop motion, which is how you can peg pretty easily that they cut corners with it. When they did it here, since it seems like it skips a lot that should have been in there, or like a smoother experience, It's really strange to me that video games are being shown off and promoted like they are E for everyone in trailers, but they actually are not. If the game is targeting an adult base based on its rating and trailer, it should be shown off more as adult, which I always say this. If you have an adult audience you're trying to market your game toward, actually show us the adult content. Sure, what they do in the main trailer that they're marketing is kind of lower the content because they want it to be able to be put onto YouTube and they want it to be able to be put onto Twitch and to be able to be put in front of younger audiences. But even if it's not a game for younger audiences, all you're really doing is hurting yourself at that point. I mean, there's people saying this made me unsubscribe from Game Pass. Sorry, but it really lives up to its name. South of midnight. Instantly shut down. So we're not just talking about people coming out of the woodworks, flooding them with hatred or harassment. We're talking about people just saying it's a really mid experience for the price, and there aren't a lot of people playing it so far. It is in early access, so you would have to pay a little bit more to be able to play it, and maybe in a few days at launch we will see these numbers skyrocket, though it is going on to Game Pass day one. Developers do still need to sell independent copies, though, aside from Game Pass. That is how they are successful, and Game Pass games can still sell relatively well. Aside from that, look at Starfield. I know it's a wildly different situation, but that sold, millions of copies at release. And well, it was on Game Pass day one. As you can see, though, the all-time peak was 2 days ago at 496 players in-game right now. Saturday afternoon is 389. I would say, judging by these early access numbers, the full release will probably get around 5,000, maybe even 10,000. That's just me being like very generous with numbers, but that is not some like sweeping success, at least in my opinion. And from what we understand, video games need to make back a lot of other people's. And this isn't even like a full price $70 video game. If you buy the premium edition right now, where you can get the early access, it's $49.99, but the pre-purchase price is just $39.99, and it does unlock in 2 days. So those are not even really that bad of prices, in my opinion. Here's an article talking about it, though. Sweet Baby Inc. Infected South of Midnight hits Steam Early Access, but the player counts are abysmal. According to Compulsion Games, South of Midnight is an action-adventure game that allows players to explore the mythos and confront mysterious creatures of the Deep South in a modern folktale, while learning to weave an ancient power to surmount obstacles and unravel your family's hidden past. See, that doesn't sound like a bad description of a game, but we know Sweet Baby's affiliated with it. We know that it touches upon themes of like racism and, from what I understand, sexism as well, because the lead character is a female. She's a black female, so she faces all of these issues, and I just don't trust them to do that in a way that actually leaves you with a message besides, oh, you should feel bad for her, she's a victim. The game puts players in control of Hazel, who is called to become a weaver, a magical mender of broken bonds and spirits. Imbued with these new abilities, she will confront and subdue dangerous creatures, untangle the webs of her own family's shared past, and if she's lucky, find her way to a place that feels like home. But yeah, these numbers are not so good. The game has 19,591 followers. It is number 108 in wish lists and number 126 in top sellers. And the all-time peak over on Twitch was 30,890, which I didn't see it when it was at this number. I would assume it's because they have sponsored streamers who were playing through the game, though apparently it's really short. It says the poor player counts are not at all surprising for a game that has Sweet Baby attached to it. Other recent releases that SBI worked on turned into commercial failures, like Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, only hit 648 peak concurrent players after it was released in June 2024. Similarly, Unknown Nine Awakening only hit a peak concurrent player count of just 285 after it released in October 2024. all such abysmal games. I streamed all of them. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn was god awful. It had such repetitive gameplay and boss fights, and the environments were not good. Unknown Nine Awakening is one of the worst games I have ever played. You enter into an area, you fight 4 or 5 mobs, then you climb over a barrier, or you go through a gate or a door. You walk into another square where it's 4 or 5 mobs. Then you go over the barrier or through the gate, or you break down a door. I mean, it's the same thing over and over. There was a section of the game where there was like this open hub area, and they copy and pasted the same NPCs like over and over and over and didn't even redesign them. It was just low effort slop, and it's crazy to think that Bandai Namco went out of their way to buy Reflector Studios, thinking that Unknown Nine Awakening was going to start like a massive new franchise for them, the same way that Sony went out of their way to buy Concord's developer. So we're just talking about failure after failure, but really bad games. And then it gets into things like Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, which were super abysmal. And not only does South of Midnight have Sweet Baby Inc. going for it, but the company itself made headlines when its community manager declared she hates gamers after previously stating that white male gamers were a mistake. So we're just talking about developers who do not care about their potential customers. They really just care about being able to play the victim. And in this case, oh, gamers are the villains and they are the victims. And well, I don't think that South of Midnight is going to be the smashing success that Xbox Game Studios or Compulsion Games hope it's going to be. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Who knows? Though right now it is not looking good for them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.